Most LOs don't have a lead problem. They have a follow-up problem. And I'm not talking about lack of follow-up. In fact, a lot of originators are following up constantly. They're calling, texting, emailing, leaving voicemails, setting reminders in their CRM, and doing everything they've been told to do. But the borrower still is not responding. The realtor keeps leaving them on red. The pre-approved buyer disappears for 3 weeks, and eventually the LO assumes the lead wasn't serious. But what if the problem isn't how often you're following up? What if the problem is that you haven't given them a reason to respond? I'm Dustin Owen, and this is The DO Show.
They don't teach this shit in school, but they should. I'm Dustin Owen, and for the past 20 years, the mortgage industry has been my classroom. I've helped over 2,000 families become homeowners, built a $1 billion mortgage operation from scratch, and earned my way into the top 1% of income earners worldwide. Along the way, I became a real estate investor, a business owner, and have invested in over 20 tech startups, even hitting a 20x return on one of my investments. This isn't theory, it's experience. Welcome to The DO Show, where I teach the lessons life taught me the hard way.
Let's start with the follow-up message almost every loan officer has sent at some point. Hey, just checking in to see if you have any questions. Or maybe it's, hey, just wanted to follow up and see if you're still looking to purchase a home. There's nothing offensive about either of those messages. They're polite, they're professional, they're also extremely easy to ignore. You're asking the borrower to stop whatever they're doing, think about where they currently stand in the home buying process, come up with an update, and then send it back to you. And that's a lot of work. And if buying a home isn't the most urgent thing happening in their life that day, they're probably not going to do it. They might read your text while they're at work. They might see it while they're waiting in the pickup line at their kid's school. They might open it while they're standing in the grocery store. They think, oh, I'll respond to that later. Then, later never comes. It doesn't necessarily mean they no longer are interested. It doesn't mean they've found another lender. It doesn't even mean that they're avoiding you. Your message simply didn't give them a compelling reason to stop and respond right now. That's where LOs need to rethink what follow-up is supposed to accomplish. Follow-up isn't reminding someone that you exist. Follow-up should move the conversation forward. Every time you reach out, you should try to do at least one of three things. Give them new information, make a decision easier, or ask a specific question that is simple to answer. If you're not doing one of those things, you're probably just adding another checking in message to a phone already full of them. Let's use a common example. You spoke to the borrower 2 weeks ago. They want to buy a home, but they're nervous about the monthly payment. You gave them a pre-approval letter, introduced them to a realtor, and now they've gone quiet. The typical follow-up sounds like this. Hey, just checking in. Have you found any homes you like? Instead, you could say, hey, I've been thinking about the payment range we discussed. If we keep the purchase price around $375,000 and negotiate a seller credit, I may be able to structure this closer to the monthly number you wanted. Have you seen any homes in that price range that you'd like me to run? Now you've given them something. You remembered their concern. You're showing that you're still working on a solution. You've also asked a specific question that's pretty easy to answer. That is a much stronger follow-up. You're no longer asking, do you have an update for me? You're saying, I have an idea for you. There's a big difference. Let's look at another example. Maybe you have a borrower who needs to improve their credit before they can qualify. You told them what to do, but you haven't heard from them in a month. You could send a, hey, just following up on your credit, how's everything going type text. Or you could send a, hey, when we last spoke, you were working on paying that card balance below 30%. Were you able to get that payment made? If so, send me the updated balance and I'll take another look at the numbers. Again, specific question, clear next step, easy to respond to. Yes or no. I made it. I haven't made it. The balance is now $1,200. Any one of those answers gets the conversation moving again. A good follow-up reduces the amount of thinking the other person has to do. That's true with borrowers. It's true with realtors. It's true with referral partners. It's true in almost every sales conversation. If someone has to write you a paragraph to answer your text, they're likely going to put it off. If they can reply with one sentence, a number, or even a yes or a no, your chances of getting a response go way up. Now, I know what some loan officers are thinking. Hey, DO, I have hundreds of leads. I can't create a brand new mortgage strategy for every single person every time I follow up, and I get it. You don't need to spend 30 minutes building a full presentation for every lead, but you do need to know why that person originally reached out. What was their goal? What was stopping them? What were they nervous about? What did they need to have happen before they could move forward? That information should be in your notes. If it isn't, you have a different problem. Your CRM should not just tell you when to call someone, it should tell you why you're calling them. Because timing without context creates robotic follow-up. That's how borrowers end up receiving the same automated text every 7 days. Hi, this is Dustin. Are you still interested in buying a home? That was day 7. Again, day 14. Then we're looking at day 21. Same message, same question, same silence. Ghosted. Automation can help you stay organized. It cannot replace paying attention. If the lead told you they're waiting for their lease to expire, your follow-up should reference the lease. If they need to save another $5,000, check in on the savings goal. If they're waiting for a job change, ask whether or not they've received the offer letter. If they are concerned about rates, don't just tell them rates moved. Show them what the movement does to their actual payment. Make the follow-up about their situation. Here are a few types of follow-ups that LOs can start using immediately. The first is a scenario update. This is especially helpful for borrowers who are payment sensitive. Let's say rates improved, mortgage insurance changed, or you found a better way to structure the loan. You could say something along the lines of, hey, quick update. I reran the scenario we discussed and the estimated payment is about $140 lower than when we first spoke. Want me to send you an updated breakdown? That gives them a reason to engage. Don't send a generic graphic that says mortgage rates fell. Translate the change into something that a borrower actually understands. What does it do to their payment? What does it do for their buying power? Does it bring a home back into range that previously was out of range? Does it allow them to keep more cash in the bank? Mortgage professionals spend all day looking at rates, points, guidelines, and loan programs. But guess what? Consumers don't. They care about what those things do for them. The second type is a property-specific follow-up. If you know the neighborhood, price point, or type of home they want, send them something relevant. You may say something along the lines of, I saw a home come up in the area you liked. It's listed at $415,000 and appears to have been on the market for a few days. If you want, I can run a scenario showing what the payment could look like with a seller-paid rate buy-down. You're not pretending to be their realtor. You're using your lending knowledge to help them evaluate an opportunity. Even if they don't like that particular house, they might respond and tell you why. Now you have more information. Maybe they need a bigger backyard. Maybe they changed school districts. Maybe they realized they're comfortable with a different price range. The conversation starts again. The third type is an educational follow-up, but be careful here. Sending a random article about a housing market isn't automatically valuable. If somebody has to read a 1,500-word article to figure out why you sent it, you've totally missed the point. Pull out the part that applies to them and explain it in plain English. For example, you mentioned being concerned about buying before selling your current home. I came across a strategy today that may allow us to use the expected proceeds without making your offer contingent. It won't work in every situation, but I think it's worth reviewing based on what you told me. Do you have 10 minutes tomorrow? That's educational, but it's also personal and actionable. The fourth type is a milestone follow-up. This works well for longer-term leads. If someone told you 6 months ago that they wanted to buy after receiving their tax refund, contact them around that time. If they wanted to wait until their child finished the school year, reach out a month or two before summer. If their lease ends in November, don't wait until November to call them. Reach out in August or September and help them work backward. You could say, your lease ends in November, so we're getting close to that point where we should update your approval and map out the timing. Would Tuesday or Wednesday be better for a quick call? Notice that I didn't end with, let me know when you're free. As you know, I'm a huge fan of giving options, so give them 2 options, Tuesday or Wednesday, morning or afternoon, phone or Zoom. Make the next step easy. The 5th type is the direct follow-up. Sometimes you've added value. You've called, you've texted, you've emailed, you've tried different approaches, and they still haven't responded. At that point, it's okay to be direct. Try this. Hey, I don't want to keep filling up your phone if your plans have changed. Should I keep your file open or check back next month? Or would you prefer I close it out for now? You'd be surprised how many people respond to that message. Not because you used some clever sales trick. It works because you gave them 2 clear choices and removed the pressure. They may say, keep it open. We've just been busy. Or they may say, check back next month. Or, you know what? They may actually say, we decided to renew our lease. All 3 answers are extremely useful. A no is better than 6 more months of guessing. So now let's talk about realtor follow-up, because LOs make the same mistake here. They meet a realtor at an event, exchange phone numbers, and then send a, hey, it was great meeting you. Let me know if I can ever help you with anything. Huh? The realtor is probably polite. They might even respond with, absolutely, but then nothing happens. Why? Because there's no reason for the conversation to continue. Instead, follow up based on something you actually discussed. For example, hey, you mentioned you've been getting more first-time homebuyers lately. I have a simple payment breakdown I use to help explain cash to close without overwhelming first-time homebuyers. I'd be happy to send it over to you if you want to use it for your leads. Or you may say, you mentioned losing a deal recently because the other lender couldn't close on time. Our team has been tightening up how we communicate milestone updates with agents. I'd love to show you the process and get your feedback. Here's another one. I remember you said you were trying to grow in the Winter Park area. I'm working with a few buyers who have asked about that market. Let's grab coffee next week and compare notes. Each message gives the realtor something specific to respond to. Loan officers often say they want stronger realtor relationships, but their outreach is, completely generic. Do you have anyone I can pre-approved? Can I come by your office? Want to grab coffee so I can tell you about my company? That's centered around what you, the originator, wants. Good follow-up starts with what the other person is already trying to accomplish. If the realtor wants more listings, help them think through financing strategies that could make those listings easier to sell. If they work with first-time home buyers, help them educate those buyers. If they're struggling with inconsistent lender communication, show them how you communicate. If they're trying to create content, guess what? You offer to record a useful video with them. Don't lead with your need for referrals. Lead with your ability to contribute. That doesn't mean you have to give away your time forever or turn every realtor into a charity project. You're building a business. But relationships come productive when both people can see a reason to keep talking. So here's the bigger lesson. Consistency is important, but consistency by itself isn't really a strategy. You can consistently send bad follow-up. You can consistently annoy people. You can consistently show up in someone's inbox without ever becoming valuable to them. The goal isn't to touch the lead 12 times. The goal is to create 12 opportunities for the lead to move forward to the next step. Sometimes that means sharing a new scenario. Sometimes it means asking one clear question. Sometimes it means addressing an objection they mentioned on the first call. Sometimes it means saying, it sounds like now isn't the right time. When would you like me to check back? The best follow-up doesn't feel like chasing. It feels like guidance. And that's the position you want to earn. You want the borrower to believe that when your name appears on their phone, there's probably something worth reading. You want the realtor to know that you're not calling just to ask for another lead. You want people to see you as the mortgage professional who remembers the conversation, thinks ahead, and helps them take the next step. So here's what I want you to do this week. Go in your CRM, even if that's a spiral notepad, and pull up 10 leads who have stopped responding. Read the notes from your original conversation. For each person, write down the one thing that was keeping them from moving forward. Then send a follow-up that speaks directly to that issue. No more just checking in, no more touching base, no generic rate graphic. Give them a useful update, a specific idea, or a simple question. You don't need a perfect script. You need a real reason for contacting them. Pay attention to how differently people respond when the message is about their situation instead of your sales pipeline. If you want help building a more consistent business, improving your sales process, and creating a plan that actually you can execute, go visit tloponline.com to learn more about TLOP's originator coaching. We work with LOs who are ready to sharpen their skills, build better habits, and create that career they've always desired. Again, that website, tloponline.com. I'm Dustin Owen, and this was The D.O. Show.